Hey everyone, welcome back to Dede's Mediterranean Kitchen. Today we're making a dessert called the Aish Saraya. This is a bread layered pudding. It is easy to make, it tastes fantastic, and you can pre-make it in advance. So if you want this recipe or any of my other recipes, make sure to go to my website at DedeMed.com. Don't forget to join my Facebook and my Twitter. My screen names are DedeMed, so look for me there. We're going to go over the ingredients and I'm going to show you how to put it together. Here we have some water, I have some lemon and some sugar. We're going to caramelize this and make a nice caramel for the bottom of the pan. I have some white bread that I toasted. I cut all the edges off and then toasted it in the oven. For toppings, we have some toasted coconuts, some pine nuts. We have some simple syrup, a tip. The recipe is on my website. And we have, for the custard filling, Aish. This recipe is also on my website. We're going to get a nice little pan on medium-low heat. You want to put your sugar in the pan. This is the caramel that we're using for the bottom of the custard. It adds a nice element of flavor. Some people like to use brown sugar. I'm using regular sugar. You want just a squeeze of lemon juice and a little bit of water. Now you want to make sure there's obviously more sugar since this is sort of a syrup. Add just a little bit more sugar. And then we're going to let this go on medium-low heat. You want to continue to stir it. You really don't want to leave it for too long because you don't want the sugar to burn. But basically what we're doing is we're browning the sugar. We're going to let the sugar caramelize into a nice brown syrup. And this usually takes between 5 and 10 minutes. So you have to be patient with this. So I've been cooking this for a little bit more than 5 minutes on medium-low heat. You can see the sugar has caramelized. This is exactly what we want. Now you want to make sure to remove it from the heat. Turn off the heat. Just let it sit here for about 2 minutes. And then we're going to put it in our pan. Okay, so we have our brown sugar. You can see it's a nice dark amber color. You want to be very careful. This is hot sugar. You don't want to burn yourself. I like to use a metal pan when doing this. I don't like to add something that's too hot to a glass. I'm going to show you 2 ways of serving this. So I'm not going to put too much of the sugar in the glass because I don't want it to break. But we're just going to get this very carefully. You want to pour it in your pan. Just going to put a tad bit in our glass. This just gives it a nice little toasted flavor. So just like that. You can kind of move it around. With the pan, we're going to do the same thing. Just grab it. Be very careful, again, it is hot. And just move it around like that. You'll see it thickens. And actually, if you leave it out, it will become hard candy. But because we're going to put some bread in here, and we're also going to put some of the simple syrup, it will just caramelize and dissolve. Now this is a dessert you want to make in advance. It should be refrigerated at least for 6 hours before serving it. You want the bread to really absorb all of the syrup flavor. You want the ingredients all melt together. I like to do it a day in advance. So see, like that, we have a nice glaze at the bottom of our pan. I'm going to move this over. Okay. Now, with the toasted bread, again, you can do this in advance. I did it last night. I cut off the edge of the bread. I let the bread sit out for about 10 minutes, and then I toasted it in the oven for about 15 minutes. You want to make sure that the bread is completely dried out. That way it absorbs all of the syrup flavor. You want to put the bread on the bottom of your pan. Just line it up. Again, you can serve this in a nice, ramekin or in a pan if it's going to be a large group. So I'm going to put 4 pieces down, just like that. And then if you're going to do it in a ramekin, you want to break your pieces. You want to maybe fit 2 down there, just like that. Oops. Just like that at the bottom of the glass. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to get our syrup. and we're just going to pour it in. Now again, it's going to take time for the bread to absorb it. You just want to pour it in over the bread, just like that. Be very generous, because the bread will absorb it. So see, we've completely covered it with the syrup. You're like, oh wow, there's way too much syrup in here. It will all be absorbed. The bread will become nice and tender and flavorful. Next, you want to layer the custard. Just like that. You want to put a nice thick layer of the custard in here. Again, I make my custard in advance just to save time. Also, you want the custard completely cooled. So, you know, you can do this overnight. You just want to spread it out like that. See? It's okay if some of the syrup comes up on the custard. That's perfectly fine. Spread it all the way around. Nice even layer. I'm going to put a nice dollop in our ramekin. And this becomes sort of like a trifle when you do it this way. See? Spread it out like that. Another piece of toast. Break it in half. Just like that. Put our toast over here. I'm going to put another layer. Some people like to use the Melba toast. You know, I know sometimes my mom, she's in a hurry, she doesn't have time to toast the bread and all that. She just buys the Melba toast already done. You can use that if you want. But if you don't have it, sometimes I don't find it always in the store, so that's why I like to just toast it myself. My mom used to always make this when we were kids. So we just fill it up with some simple syrup. Put some more all over your bread. If you don't put enough simple syrup, when you cut into this, the bread is going to still be a little bit hard. So always make sure just to completely cover your bread with the syrup. I know this looks like it's a lot of sugar. This is not a healthy dessert. It's dessert. Have a little bite, have a small piece. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. It's okay to have a little bit of dessert. You know, I think the French say that 2 bites of something is enough. I completely agree. Don't completely deprive yourself of desserts, because then you'll just end up pigging out and nobody's looking. So here we are. We're just going to spread this out. After you finish spreading out your custard, what you want to do is cover it with some saran wrap. Put it in the refrigerator. Again, overnight is the best. If you don't have overnight, then I would definitely make this in the morning. You can serve it in the evening. Again, you want your toast to absorb all of the liquid in here. So we're going to put another dollop in our ramekin. Just like that. You can use smaller ones if you want. You don't have to use such a big one. You kind of want to clean it up a little. Clean it up like that. Again, this is another recipe also. You can serve it with whatever toppings that you like. If you like nuts, you can use nuts. If you like fruit, you can use fruit. You can use bananas, strawberries, berries, whatever you like to decorate the top of it. Traditionally, it's served with pistachios or toasted almonds on top. I like to use coconut and pine nuts. That's just my preference. So I like to get the pine nuts. You can toast the pine nuts if you like. Just put them just like that. And then maybe decorate it with some coconut around. You can use sometimes the candied orange peel. That goes fantastic with this. It's another thing you can use. So again, just be creative, put things together that you like. Just like that. And we are all done. Like that. And that's it. This is our Aish el Saraya, our bread pudding. Look how pretty that looks. And when you cut it, it's a nice, thick bread pudding with all the flavors. It's fantastic. You can serve it like this if you want to get fancy. I hope you like this recipe. Check it out on my website at DedeMed.com, and I hope to see you again soon.